Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My name is Munir Ahmed, and my topic is capitalistic taxation laws and Islamic perspective. First of all, I will narrate the legacy of taxation. When we find from history, the first sort of tax was tax on agriculture. In all the organized societies all over the world, in the beginning, because land was the only piece of ownership, and when people became owners of land, they were owner of the produce from land, and the first tax levied on income was agriculture tax. It was realized after the harvest of crops, and it was a just tax because every farmer used to have income from land, and on that income there was a tax. So this was the first source of income for the government to meet its expenditure. After some time, another tax was imposed uh, on trade. It was realized from the traders, and traders used to include it in the price of products. So as a result, the consumers, they had to pay this. So then we see the second shape of tax, that the tax on trade, which we generally call sale tax, and nowadays we call it GST. So the second tax was very different in nature because there was no reason uh, for its reason, because as a result of a sale purchase, income of consumers did not increase, but it was levied. As we see in those days, there used to be wars, and the government has to finance its expenditure. So the second tax, the tax on trade, tax on business was levied, which had no rationale, because as a result of this, income of the consumer did not increase. When we see the 7th century, before 7th century, there were two big super empires, Iran and Rome, and the third country was Arab. In all the countries, there were tax on trade. In Arabia, in Medina, there were four market of Jews, and Jews had levied a tax on trade. All people in the market, they used to pay the tax. Those people who used to bring their goods in the market, they had to pay the tax, and there were tax on trade. When Prophet Muhammad migrated from Mecca to Medina, there were four market of Jews, and in all markets there were tax. So Prophet Muhammad started a new market in Medina, Islamic market, and in that market, Prophet Muhammad said there will be no tax on trade. So when tax on trade was abolished, in a very short time, the newly established market of Muslims that surpassed all the four market of Jews, because there were a tax on trade. As a result of that, people shifted from Jewish market to Islamic market, because in the language of modern time, the ease of doing business was now in Islamic market, where there was no tax on trade. So, so for the first time, Islam gave a new a concept of taxation, that there will be only two taxes in the economy. It is very surprising that in the 7th century Muslim markets in Medina, there were only two taxes on a domestic trade. And what were those? Zakat, 2.5%, it was an annual tax, and Ushar, that was 10%. It has to be paid after every harvest. So here Islam gave a concept of low rate few tax regime, for running the expenditure of the government. This system remained in vogue for uh, for some time. After that, the whole world again they switch over to tax on trade. So these days now, what we see the situation now in every country there are a lot of taxes, and mostly on a trade, what we say VAT in advanced countries, value added tax, because every person, rich or poor, has to pay tax while purchasing something, while making purchase something. And this is un-Islamic as per saying of Prophet Muhammad, who said that who will levy any tax other than those two taxes, he will not go to heaven. This is about 7th century, but when now we see that multiple tax regime and different rate of taxes on trade. And as a result of that, the most the victim of this system is the poor people, because they are already poor. Whenever they purchase anything, they have to pay the hidden tax in the prices, which the businessman, the trader, used to include in the prices. So what is my thesis? That in 7th century, Prophet Muhammad gave the idea of supply side economics, where there was no tax in the trade. In 2020, my first book, 7th Century Medina Economics, it came in the market, published, and I had given this idea in that book, that if we, that, yes, Shabazz, click here to get started. Yes. So, in that book, I gave the idea that in Islam there are only two taxes on domestic trade. First is, I repeat, 2.5 annual tax, zakat, and that is on income from business and on other assets. And then a pusher of a 10% that is to be paid after every harvest. So when I raised this question in my book, there were a lot of uh, questions that in modern day, how governments would meet their expenditure just from two taxes. One thing I like to add that in the period of Caliph Umar, third tax was imposed, and that was import duty. Before that, there was no import duty, but when Hazrat Umar became a caliph, a, a businessman from Spain and Italy, they came to Mecca and Medina. So the question was raised: what sort of tax should be levied on their imports or their goods? So third tax is import duty. So I gave this idea in my book that in Islam there are only three taxes. Then there was a lot of questions that in the modern day requirement, how government expenditure will be met just from three taxes. Then I took the case of my country, uh, Pakistan. And then I analyzed the taxation data. In Pakistan, annually we get from all sort of taxes rupees 7,000 billions annually from all taxes. And this out of this amount, 40% is from sale tax, because in Pakistan there is a high level of GST, a sale tax, which is 70% or 18%. So I calculated that if we impose just three taxes, zakat, pusher, and import duty, what would be the realization? I have given in my paper the full calculation. I was myself surprised to see that if we impose just three taxes in Pakistan, three Islamic taxes, we shall be getting the same amount what we are getting from a number of taxes, and most important, the GST, the sale tax. So from that, I got the this idea that we should promote this aspect of Islam. That in Islam there is only three texts. And now I say something about the existing capitalistic taxation. You see, capitalistic taxation is just on income. Every year, your income is assessed and you have to pay tax on your income. This excludes your wealth and particularly gold. What I calculated that in Pakistan, the gold holdings with ladies or with gentlemen, those are excluded from tax. Gold, silver, and diamond ornaments, they are not included in the tax. And secondly, the real estate business is not fully taxed. So, what a calculation I made that from the zakat on gold and zakat on gold and silver and other metals, we shall be getting around the same amount which we are getting from sale tax. And secondly, all sort of income which is related with land. And in the 7th century, there was only one shape of income from land, that was agriculture production. In modern time, you see there is agriculture production, there is industrial production, there is mining production. And if we take into account the GDP of any country, and the value added by different sectors, that all come under usher. And if we calculate all that and import duty, we shall be getting equal amount which we are getting now from multiple taxation, and which has become a source of difficulty, particularly for the poor people. So that's my reason for coming here, because this idea was also exercised in America. We always know the Laffer curve. What is Laffer curve? That if you impose too much taxations, you will be getting too much amount, too less amount from too much assessment. You will be getting too less amount, and if there are if there are few taxes, you will be getting lot of amount. And it is said that this idea was given by Ibn Khaldun, a Muslim scholar, who had said in the beginning that governments in the beginning, they get more realization from fewer assessments, and in the long run, when there are too many taxes, they get lesser amount from too many assessment. So what idea I want to present from this forum, that generally we say that these two taxes are simply a charity. Zakat is a charity. In fact, zakat is Islamic taxation. And now in advanced countries in economics, there is a concept of supply side economics. They say, because in Western economics there are two groups. One group is supply side economics. They want to have little taxes, very few taxes on trade. And what they say, as a result of this, business will promote, efficiency of business will promote, so there will be few taxes. But in America, in advanced countries of the West, there is higher level of taxation. And in most of cases, when the salary is high, 50% amount goes to tax. So it is a very new idea. and it is given by our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam that there should be no tax on trade. What is thesis of my presentation? What is a very new idea, and it is very less tested, exercised. Generally, in every country, in every Muslim country, there are a lot of taxes, and as a result everybody has to pay tax, even those people who are under the poverty line. When they make any purchase, they pay the hidden tax, which is that is sale tax or GST. So I what I want, that we should do exercises on this idea, that if we have just three taxes, if we say, just say for a statement, it looks it is not possible, because just for three taxes how we shall do this. But this is also accompanied by the idea of Islamic way of government, that there should be a simple government with minimum requirements having from the national exchequer. So the concept of Islam about governance helps us, that if our leaders, if the rulers have a very simple way of life, the way of life which was exercised by our holy prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and Hazrat Umar, Hazrat Abu Bakr, and Hazrat Usman, and Hazrat Ali, the four caliphs, they led a very simple life. When they do this, there will be too much resources available for spending on poor, and from zakat and usher and import duty, too much income will be realized, and that will be spent on the welfare of the people. One thing more I would like to say about zakat. uh, the avenues of expenditure have also been mentioned in our holy book, the Quran. There are 8 avenues of expenditure that are to be made from the income from zakat. All are pro poor, all are for the welfare of the weaker sections of society. When we adopt this idea, then we shall be have a very strong government. They are making a lot of expenditure, and the expenditure of zakat could not be outsourced to the private sector. In the western economies, everything is in the hand of private sector, and what we see these days, the ruling ideology, neoliberalism, because of that everything is with the market. So the Islamic concept of taxation and rule of government, the governance model, when we study these two, and when we implement this, so it will be a revolution in the business, the same revolution which had occurred in the 7th century Medina, when our holy prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam withdraw all taxes on trade. So this is my submission, that all OIC countries, all Muslim countries, first exercise this, first make a calculation that how much amount they can get from taxation. And there's also a thinking that if a government is unable to is not to realize adequate amount from zakat, its rate could also be increased. Uh, I would like to refer at Dr. Hamidullah, who came from India and he settled in France. He gave this idea that in Islam, zakat is the taxation, usher is the taxation, and if in certain situations you are unable to, the government is unable to realize the desired amount from zakat and usher, its rate could be increased till the time we have the full resources. So, what is my submission at this forum? That all the Muslim countries should work on this idea. They should make exercises about their own areas, what amount they are getting from taxation and what amount they will get from just three taxes. So this idea is very amazing that there will be just three taxes, and from these three taxes you will get sufficient amount. And this idea, first we should exercise this, as I have exercised in the case of my country, the Pakistan. In Pakistan, people are worried about the higher level of taxation. If we can introduce that in Pakistan, and if we can share this with other countries, then we can discuss it at World Economic Forum, and we can tell to the people that this idea came from our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, whom we call he is mercy for all the mankind. So I finish with these words, these remarks, that this idea of no of tax-free trade came from Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So if we present this idea on global forums, then we shall be introducing in a better way about our prophet, because people generally don't know his his person. And when they will be knowing this, then in this time when everybody is uneasy due to higher taxation, this idea was given by Prophet Muhammad in the 7th century, and it will be a gift from Prophet Muhammad for mankind of 21st century, and it will be instrumental in image in creating awareness about image of Prophet Muhammad. Thank you very much. Walaikum assalam.